we're going to try to get moose in. We've got three options. One, we can try to push it in, but it is uphill and it doesn't like to roll that well. Second option I'm actually thinking of trying with is using squeak, get it around behind it and actually push it in with squeak. That's an option we can try, as long as the tranny doesn't slip. I haven't had squeak out for a long time. The only other option I have is actually using squeak for a anchor and put it right here. Move the barbecue, put squeak right here at this door, and run the cable around squeak from the winch. And speaking of the winch, I'm happy to announce that we ended up with a sponsorship from Duracordex. The link is in our description, and what they've done is they do manufacture synthetic rope, kinetic ropes, the soft shackles, and that sort of thing. Really good looking products. So they sponsored us with a brand new, we're getting rid of the metal, a brand new 84 feet of table. All new synthetic line. Has the rub guard. It's got your pre-done end for hooking on, and in there somewhere is a hook, I think. Somewhere in there. Oh, there's the hook end. So then you just do your loop off of that. So very nicely done, nice and neat. I can either put this on it if I want, or I can just go the soft shackle. So I go back to my hook or go to the soft shackle. For now, we're going to run it through the rollers, just for now. Even though those things have hardly ever been used, they're starting to seize up. But anyways, we're going to run it through these just because they are smooth and it will roll nicely. Later on, we might put in the nice, neat little ones that are for synthetic ropes. We'll see. But for now, so as we're working on moose, we are going to get this in there so that we can try it and use it. For the moment, we're just going to pull out the steel line and use it if we have to. Thank you very much to Duracordex, and we look forward to testing this and some of their other products and showing you guys exactly how they work and how well they are. Okay, so far we've gotten it this far by hand. My problem is I'm a little too close to all my junk on this side, and I do want to work on this, so we gotta move it. And yeah, the steering's not working so good. So let's see what happens.
Well, you're the walking distance. I'll put you at one side.
Yeah. Okay, so. Okay, now we need to get it still over more. Alright. Okay, so you think you can push more? Cool. Okay. Then come forward more till I run out of space. Yell at you, I'm about to get squished, and we'll have to adjust from there. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Okay, so I want to turn the wheel back that way, but I'll worry about that later. Well, there we go. We got it in just by push power and pull power with Hayden and I. So not so bad. Still rolling good then. This is good. Anyway, now back at things. We've got to move the back end over.
So right now I'm on a bit of a tilt. So we're going to try and move this over. We'll do the old school, put the floor jack in, jack it up, and knock it over. Or if I can find the one with the casters, put it under and roll it. One of the two.
Alright, I'm using the bumper jack just because I don't have a high lift yet. Same concept as I showed in one of my shorts. This thing's out of a 77 Plymouth. But anyways, same concept. I don't suggest you do this at home. It's not exactly the safest thing to do. We do it on the trail quite often because, well, we don't have a choice in the matter. Today, I'm just too lazy to do any of the other choices. Wow. This, you're heavy. And because I'm doing it this way, it's extending the suspension. Let's see if that's high enough or not. Whoops. Okay. Here goes nothing. Nope. Alright, let's try from this way. I have to pull upward on it somewhat. Well, that was slow motion, but it worked. So one of the first things I'm going to try to tackle is this thing. Get this one out. We have a new one ordered and a new pitman arm. Just because I don't know if this one's going to fit the other one, I'm not sure what style this one is. Some of them have like a notch in the spline, some don't. So I won't know until I get this one out, and we'll find out. We got to get the hydraulics undone from it, the steering undone from it, and then the 4 bolts at the back. So this is going to take a little bit to get this apart. If I don't have to get the new pitman arm, I can use this one. That would be terrific. And we definitely can't forget before we go wheeling to fix these front body mounts too. That might help things a little. Alright, we got the pitman arm off. It's sitting here. Now this one is different. It only has like about 5 or 6 splines on the front and has the notch in the back. Now the new one I ordered, the pictures show that it's a fully splined one with a nut on the bottom. So we may pick up another pitman arm and just keep it all the same, because the new one is out, or is for a 85 GMC 1 ton, and it looks identical in the rest of the body, mount and everything else. So that's what we're going with. So we'll make everything match the new steering box instead of trying to mess around and find this particular steering box if it's different. Next problem is there's my bolts holding it in. I don't know why they got such huge spacers, but they do. And tiny little nuts that have not been off probably since 1985. Anyway, let's see what happens. If they come out or they break. We got the steering box out. And the steering. So there's our steering rod. It's all good. We're going to clean it up. It's not wobbly or loose. So this is good. And here's the steering box. It's seen better days. And taking it out, we found out a few other problems. So we will be getting a new line for it. So right here we have one of the lines, and let's see if I can get the lights right here so you can see this. This is one of the, this is, I believe, the return line, but I don't think it's supposed to look like that. And it's even worse underneath the pump. So I got a new one of those ordered in. Plus the other end of it was this. It's literally cut off for whatever reason, and then bonds welded. So yeah, we're replacing all that as well. And we've got a new coil coming in as well, because as I said, the distributor, we did everything except for the coil. So I got a new coil coming in. I'll keep that one because it does work. Worst case scenario, I can always put it in if I had to. But we're going to try a new coil and see if that helps us start a little faster. And of course, that's once we put the new starter on. Then we're going to have this one rebuilt, so I've got a spare of those. Talking to a gentleman that does them, and he says, you know, it's just because of the compression of this engine, we're probably going to keep going through them. So good to know. And I'll keep a backup one. Then it's to charging system still, because we also have, and I forgot to mention that before, we got the one line that seems very worn there off the alternator. So we're going to replace that, get it nice and clean, make sure it's getting the proper current out to the batteries and everything, and try to get all these little things done while we're in here. Well, I'm off to get some more parts for Moose. We're headed back up to Just Brakes. They've got me a brand new power steering box for Moose. We picked up a new pitman arm because it's a slightly different box, so the pitman arm I had would not fit. And we've got a new hydraulic return line as well. Well, we've arrived. Now, time to go into Just Brakes and get our parts. Now, they've got an awesome little store here. Lots of products in stock, and customer service beyond. So if there's anything you need, if you don't see it, ask. They order stuff in for you specifically, and as long as it's stock, they don't do a lot of performance stuff, but stock parts and replacement they do. And believe me, even the hard to find stuff, I've got Moose, and they still find it for me. Hey, I'm back from Just Brakes. Got a bunch of the parts. I didn't get them all today, but I'll show you what we've got and what we're going to be doing very soon with getting the Moose back together. So here's what we got. We got the new shocks. Those include the top post that they need, and I bought new bolts for the bottom. So we've got the new rear shocks. This box we have hiding the brand new starter. These are actually for the exhaust. They're new manifold bolts. We just got those in because we are acquiring the parts to redo the exhaust eventually. Got a new coil. Just in case that is giving us some of the problems starting, we picked up a new coil. So this is good. Now the biggest thing we had was the power steering right now, because it gave up the ghost and we can't move around too much. So we got a brand new power steering box here. It's a 1-ton GM. It's got a slightly different spline to it. So I just went and got a brand new pitman arm. I figure why mess with it? We'll just change that while we're at it. Found out that our one hose, as I showed, is got a couple splits in it. So this is our new hose. It's our low pressure return. So we've got a brand new hose, so that'll take care of all those holes and problems. We have a brand new spacer universal for here, and we've got the spacer U clamps instead. Now my yoke isn't designed for those, so we're going to have to modify slightly. Hopefully everything goes well there, or we will have to buy a new yoke. We'll see. I'm hoping we can modify and don't have to buy a new one. That's the parts we have currently. So that puts Moose back together. Should be able to start. Should be able to steer. It should be able to move. Once we're done that, then we're going to attack the front. And we'll start playing with moving this system forward 1/4 of an inch and doing a few more things. Like I say, the grommet and that one's gone. You can see the bolts literally laying on the bottom of the leaf spring. So we're going to get things like the new grommets in there, move this forward 1/4 of an inch, get everything else hooked back up, and then into modifying the fenders. As you can see, this one's crushed back more than the other one was, but still not enough. So we're going to move these fenders back into about here, down here, and then upward. So we should not catch them anymore. We're going to mess with the inner fender here and get that crushed in a little bit. You can see how it's been peeled up. So we're going to get that all straightened out and tucked in nice and neat. Tuck in the other beams. We're going to get it so that we're not touching anymore when we flex. Another thing we have to do along with our movements is when we move things around, we need to move that, our flex line. So we're going to undo that, hopefully, maybe, or replace it, whichever happens. But we're going to move it down so that it mounts underneath the frame. Giving us a couple extra inches of play. I'm going to build a little gusset for it so it sits down there, and somewhere where it's not going to get jammed into the suspension, but at the same time gets us that a little extra couple of inches, because we definitely do have the flex. I don't want to end up ripping out our brake line, especially once we make the mods and move things around. We don't want to do that. I don't want to be running brakeless again.
So we're going to try to get this out, but there's a multitude of problems that arise with this. Number one, as I say, this grommet's gone, so the bolt is actually sitting on the bottom of the leaf spring on this side, but not this side. The other problem is there's the nut, which means the bolt has to go this direction. Yeah, don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to have to cut this bolt off, zip cut this off, and pull it out this way so that we can deal with it. Later on, we'll put it back in and deal with it from there. But for now, and I have a jack in here already. So we're going to jack up the suspension so that we can get this grommet out and get everything measured and figure out what exactly we're dealing with and get some new grommets in. Then we have to, I'm going to order it for this one and for that one over there. We can have a look. It's beaten down on this side too. It's not sitting where it's supposed to by any means. Yeah, it's beaten down on this side. You can see here, sitting on a tilt, and it's not sitting right there. So yeah, we'll get 2 new ones of those, get them in. We're gonna get some of these leaks fixed too, hopefully in the next little bit. Try to get this cleaned up so we're not dealing with all this all the time. We got transmission seals leaking. It was redone, but I guess however it was done, not quite properly, so we may drop that, put in a couple of new gaskets and seal it up properly, hopefully, stop that leak. And yeah, but for now, right this moment, we're going to try to get the suspension fixed. The leak is something we can deal with at any time. Sooner the better, but anytime. Our problem is, like I say, my manifold's right here, right into that. So we're going to have to cut that off, and then put the new one in. It's going to be fun because the bolt's going to literally push right into the manifold. So hopefully when things are straightened out and clamped together properly with the new grommet, it'll sit a little better too. Well, we'll see. All we can do is try and fix it. Alright, we have it out. That's still usable if I have to. I think they come with that. And yeah, that's, I couldn't get much more worn out if I tried. I don't know what the other side's like. We'll have to do one side at a time. That's a chore and a half. We have the jack, as you can see in there, and I just cranked it up to push it down. Got everything lined up, dropped it down. So now we're going to get the new grommets, get that back in, new bolt going this way, because I can't bring it the other way. And where's that? There we go. We'll get a new one of these in. So, one piece at a time.